Hey guys, Lewis Aaron here, the Frugal Student, and I'm here today to give you an update on something that's been happening in the stock market, something that's been on my mind, something that's been coming up in conversation, and that is retail. What's going on with the retail space? I'm a Next shareholder. What do I think of Next's prospects? Am I scared of ASOS and Boohoo? And where do I see the kind of sector going? Well, I'll start by answering the broader question, that is, where's the retail sector heading in general? I have no crystal ball. But if I was to guess, I'm going to say that the tough competition is going to continue. We're going to continue, obviously, to see this transition from physical store sales onto online store sales. And of course, that's hurting many companies. We've seen BHS went bust. House of Fraser are in very big trouble. Same for Topshop, again facing severe difficulties, and that's not even mentioning Debenhams, which I think are probably having the toughest time in the retail space at the moment. Let me touch on Debenhams a bit more, because this ties in to Next, because they're very kind of closely aligned companies. They're very similar in many ways. Unfortunately, Debenhams has decimated their brand. Debenhams currently has no brand. Debenhams doesn't stand for anything. If anything, what Debenhams stands for is constant sales, the constant dropping of their price. I'm not going to walk into Debenhams and buy anything for full price anymore. I'll wait for a sale. They're discounting their products so heavily, so consistently, that their margins have been decimated, destroyed. I'm very bearish when it comes to Debenhams. I wouldn't be buying any Debenhams share. I think they're a value trap. And until they can grow their online offering, I'm not going to touch them with a badge pull. I think there are many more problems to come for Debenhams. Same for Moss. You saw the Moss group. They've been having many problems as well. Again, I'm bearish, even though they got a nice dividend. They're not as cash generative as my favourite retail pick. So let's move on to what we're kind of here to talk about more than anything, and that's Next PLC. I bought Next shares at 6,800 pence. I've watched my Next shares at one point nearly half in value. Was I scared? No, I was buying more. And this is one of the biggest rules for you if you're a new investor. If you can't buy more of a share as the share price declines, don't buy it. You have to have guts. You have to have the guts to hold when you seem to be wrong. It's you against the world. And the stock market is an irrational place. So I was buying more. I've got an average cost now at about 5,400 pence. The shares currently trading, as the time of this video, around 5,000 pence. So where do I see Next going? I'll address the competition concerns from ASOS and Bohoo. That's what all the analysts are talking about. There's 4 sell recommendations on Next stock at the moment, and all the analysts are saying ASOS, Boohoo, online competition. Fine. ASOS and Boohoo are growing companies. But guess what? It's easy to grow a company in a growing space. The online retail market is a growing market. Of course they're going to be growing companies. They're still very small. It's easy, number one, to grow from a small base to a high base. Number two, it's easy to grow in a growing space. What shows me that a company is truly worth investing is that it has come through tough times. Next was around when the recession hit. Next is still around now that we're facing this transition from the high street onto online. Next continues to generate tons and tons of free cash. So I'm not scared of ASOS, I'm not scared of Boohoo, and there's one reason for that. We see that Next's net margin on products is 15.18%. We see that Boohoo's net margin is around 6.7%, and then Boohoo is a 3.3% margin. Ask yourself, what's the more robust, the more profitable company from that? Next gets 124% return on equity. That is a well-managed company. That is a company that's very, very investable. I'll just say, when it comes to Next, that Simon Wolfson, I rate him very highly. Simon Wolfson has held steady. When he looks around the retail space, everybody else is discounting their products. He's held steady. He's held the margin, and that's what's maintained the net margin in Next products in the business. Going forward, I think they've been through the toughest bit. I think they've come through the 2008 recession, they survived that. They're transitioning currently from the physical estate onto online, but they're also growing their physical stores too. The sales are down, but they're expanding. They're opening new stores. So I actually think there's a competitive advantage there. I actually think that going forward, Next is going to be able to trounce ASOS and Boohoo. Why? Because Next are going to have physical stores and they're going to have online stores. As soon as Next really starts, gathering this pace online as it has been in its directory division, I think ASOS and Boohoo, they're the ones going to be hard placed to compete. At the moment, they're the in thing. The online space is the growing space. I'd like to know what happens when Boohoo and ASOS, when they face adversity. So therefore, I am bullish on Next. Next, Simon Wolfson in the latest update has come out and said that they expect a further £300 million worth of free cash flow next year. I'm definitely wanting more of a piece of that. I have been accumulating Next shares. I'm very overweight in Next shares at the moment. I own more of Next than any other company. So I won't be buying more. Is now a good entry point? I think it's a decent entry point. I think we could see more downside from here. But again, I can't predict the future. If anybody tells you they can predict the future of where stock price is going to go, they're lying. I think we could see downside from here, but then we can very easily see upside. So I think if you don't own any Next shares, now is a decent time to get in. It's not the best time. It's not the most opportune time. But remember, I bought these shares at a much higher price. I'm more than happy to buy a lower price. So that's it for today's video. That's it on what's happening with Next. If you own Next shares, actually drop a comment. If you're thinking of buying Next shares, you've got any questions about Next's business, again, drop a comment. I'm more than happy to answer. And the best thing would be for you to subscribe. If you want to keep up to date with what's happening with Next, what's happening with other UK domiciled companies, then subscribe to my channel and I'll be more than happy to keep you guys up to date.